That's Delightful,
a member of the Pod Bros Network.
Welcome to That's Delightful. Online at facebook.com/That's Delightful. Now time for That's Delightful.
Well, this is it, episode 70. It's That's Delightful, the podcast, featuring none other than Dr. Kelly Abbott, Michelle Riley.
Dr. Kelly Abbott.
So important that he interrupts one where he's trying to introduce his wife.
The way I see it. I talk when I talk. If you were talking when I was meant to be talking, it is you who pre-interrupted me.
Hey, let's switch this up a little bit. I always open up the show with who we are and all of our stuff. Kelly, you do it.
Fuck you.
No, let's do it.
This is Ian's way of saying, hey, what I do? It's not that easy. Try it.
Go for it.
Episode 70 of That's Delightful is Dr. Kelly Abbott.
See, what's happening right now is that he's...
Ian Riley and licensed clinical social worker, Michelle Riley.
What's happening is that he's a little embarrassed because he's not exactly sure how to do it or what sort of inflection to use. So he's going into
Facebook.com/That's Delightful.
Voice.
You can give us a call at 209 659er. Yeah. Anyway, you can throw it back to Ian here in the studio.
Ian gets a radio voice too. He doesn't think he does, but he does.
Do I have a radio voice?
You have a radio voice.
So?
You're like, hey, and then you get all like, yay.
It's the same because I was a telemarketer for a hot minute. And there is how you do it when you're thinking about what you're saying, and then once it is rote, once you have like things you say over and over,
rote, really?
It's a different part of your brain. ROTE.
Hey.
Once you wrote that shit, once it's all rote, it comes from a different part of your brain. Like you don't have to think about it, so you just you're thinking about other stuff while your mouth is saying. Facebook.com/That's Delightful.
I mean, I guess okay. So I have I'm seriously worried about this lump, Michelle. I don't know if I need to get this biopsied or...
Is that why you
Anyway, That's Delightful, episode 70. Here we go.
He does. It's the weirdest thing. Anyway.
You know what I've noticed about myself? Because I used to do outside sales as well. I tried doing sales for a newspaper. And I did do sales. I did sales for newspaper twice. Once for advertising, once as a kid I would sell subscriptions. But when I was doing the advertising, I noticed that because I lacked confidence, that when I went in to talk to somebody, my voice went up. And I became very timid and very like, yeah, whatever you want, yeah. I don't know what that is other than just like fear. But I wasn't able to channel, and this was after I had started doing radio, but I wasn't able to channel the radio voice when I would do it. I was just very, maybe it's because I wasn't confident in what I was selling that I felt bad about it, you know? Like, hey, this is a once weekly free newspaper that only like 12 people read, but for $35 a column inch, we can put your mechanic shop in here, even though you're barely making it as it is, but give us your money every week. I think I felt bad about it, is what it was.
I feel I can't sell because of that. Like I believe wholeheartedly in Tupperware. You know that. I think it's a great product. I think it's awesome. The company is great. But I tried selling it, and I'm just not... Like, you can't afford it? Cool, I get that.
You're not a Tupperware salesman.
I'm not a salesman.
Not sales, yeah.
That's not what I do.
I ran into the same problem, A, when I sold Tupperware, and B, when I sold Avon. By the way, selling Avon, did you know most people have an Avon representative? It was a tapped market. I was not making my millions. I'm telling you that right now.
After the people who get it are going to already have it. I sold Jesus for a couple years.
Yes, you did.
And I truly believed in the Jesus at the time. You could not have believed more in the Jesus. But selling the Jesus is a very different matter. You can believe in it, and selling it is a different skill set.
You know?
I feel bad about it, like when I have to shut the door in people's faces, but I find it intrusive as well.
Yeah.
But the one time I got really pissed off is there were missionaries, and they were coming around our apartment complex, and they refused to speak to me. They would
they're not allowed to. They won't come in. Well, if you're both here, they should have been...
No,
they should have acted the same to both of you. It's planted in the hearts of missionaries that to speak to a member of the opposite sex is to put yourself in the way of temptation.
Which is why Mike Pence only has dinner with his wife and no other.
Yeah. It just you don't want to give that old devil any sort of wiggle room. You don't want to crack the door open, as it were, because before you know it, the devil's in the living room telling you a message about
that vagina's reeking the whore's breath.
So if it's a woman, if it's a single mom, heaven forbid, you can't go into that single mom's house.
How do you
Doesn't
make
matter
a
if her
Mormon
eternal
then?
salvation is on the line. You have to find another person of the same sex as the other person to come in with you. You have to find a chaperone, essentially.
She's already experienced the whore's breath with those children that don't have fathers, those bastard kids.
And, sadly, because it becomes such a thing, you get a lot of missionaries hooking up with single moms on missions because it's like drilled in, like, this is dangerous. So when they do have interactions with them, it becomes this, like, forbidden thing that
sounds
sucks
kind of
people
fun.
in.
I can't lie.
Oh, there are people who
sounds-
that's like their jam, is just luring the missionaries into temptation.
That's
There was a
weird
whole
jam to
city.
have, but
There was
it
a whole
sounds
city
fun.
I wasn't allowed to go into in Chihuahua, where I lived.
That's what I missed out on? Fuck me.
Yeah.
So you could have been Mormon.
My dad was raised Mormon. I totally could have got in on that.
I got pitched to be a
dad seems to have been
mail
everything.
order groom.
My dad was raised Mormon. His dad was Mormon. He left the church, and then my dad, midstream when he was a teenager, switched to the Lutheran church and left the Mormon church. And I think I was telling you this. We have a picture somewhere because the Romneys lived in Detroit as well. Mm-hmm.
The Romneys live everywhere.
And my dad had a postcard that was sent to the Rileys from the Romneys.
Oh yeah, you were telling us about this.
Because my grandpa was a lobbyist for GM.
Yes.
And Mitt Romney's dad did something with the motor industry as well. So the two were friendly. They knew each other.
They were from Michigan. So
Yeah.
the whole thing, I remember when your aunt was like, it was during the election with Romney and Obama, and she like handed me this weird card that had Mitt somebody Romney's signature on it.
there
Governor
are a
Romney.
lot of Romneys.
It was one of the governors. So she handed it to me to show me how cool. It's like, I don't think you know me.
We got cred. We
I
got
was
cred
like,
within the Romneys.
I did the whole and passed it on.
That's awesome.
Romney Bloods, Obama Crips. Shit got real, yo. All right, that's delightful. Episode 70 online, facebook.com/that's delightful, patreon.com/that's delightful, and if you want to send us an email, totally delightful stuff that's delightfulstuff@gmail.com. You can also check out our website at totallydelightfulstuff.com, which, by the way, I've been keeping up. And so if you want to stream all of our episodes right there, you can either subscribe on iTunes, you can catch us on your favorite podcast player of choice, or you can go to totallydelightfulstuff.com, and there's a player right there that will play each one of them in a row as you keep going. So it's pretty gosh darn convenient right there.
I think there are people who've discovered our podcast since we started. We've got 70 episodes now under our belt, so there are people who have no idea what the first 50 episodes are about, potentially, and we're coming up on 100. So I wonder if it's time to start curating a greatest hits, sort of like our best
What
moments.
would be the best moments?
Oh, there have been some fun moments.
There have been some fun
I think
moments.
one of the phlebotomy moments.
There are whole sections. We could have different categories of times when we've yelled at each other, times when shit went from fake tense
people
to,
get really
to
weird
truly.
about that.
I know, but having a whole package, and then we follow it up with, "Oh, but it's okay because look, here's us being cheerful."
So listen, here's what we need to do. Because this is going to take a while. And I can't do this one on my own because it'd be very, very skewed. But what we need to do is take a Friday or Saturday night, because this is going to take 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
And we can fast forward through, but we're going to have to go through each one. I've also got some outtakes. I've got several outtakes where we could put together 4 or 5 minutes of just you and I singing. So, and I've been thinking about that. That may be
Or
something.
using
That would be
stupid
awesome.
voices.
Or using stupid voices. There's a lot of stuff we could
Movie
do.
quotes. Oh my God. Can you imagine if we just sourced the movie quotes of you guys going back and forth?
That's what I'm saying. This is going to take a long time because we have 70 hours worth of material. We can fast forward through a lot.
We can always play the episode
Totally.
of me high as a kite after surgery telling you guys a story in all earnestness that you were laughing at me about.
We could call it. In fact, it could be episode 101. We call it "That's Delightful 101" for people wanting to get to know our podcast.
We could do
and we
that.
just package it hey, if you're wondering what we're all about, this is a good little primer.
We also need to sit down and seriously discuss when and how we want to re-release episode number 1.
Yeah.
Because I found it. We have it.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to hear it.
It's
I
not
don't
as
either.
it's not as bad as I thought it was.
At the time, you reassured us that it was a solid B+.
It was, and I actually I stand by that statement. Here's what's different. Okay, that one was only like 35 minutes long. Now every episode we do borders between an hour and 10. It was 35 minutes long. Some of the transitions, because I didn't really have any coaching on how to transition us, were a little rough. But for the most part, the personality I think is there. I think everything that makes That's Delightful what it is was all there. All the ingredients were there. It was just being mixed a little
We
differently.
are 100 with our personalities. I can
That's
tell you
right.
that for sure.
So we have a project ahead of us. That's something that we're going to be doing here.
That'd be fun.
In the near or distant future. We still have 30 episods to go, 30
Yeah.
weeks to go, half a year before we turn 100.
Oh yeah, 30 weeks is a long time.
We got some
Right
time.
around Christmas.
I think it's even less.
Oh, shit.
More than that.
It's more than a half a year away.
Well, never mind all this,
I like
everybody.
you were like, we're coming up on 100.
7 8 months. Hey, Michelle and I, you know what story I'm going to tell, right? We're coming up on 100, coming up on 2. So Michelle and I were in one of those anonymous meetings that have 12 steps where you celebrate anniversaries. And
like Eyes
somebody-
Wide Shut?
Sure.
That kind of thing? Everybody wears masks and...
Yes,
Okay.
and we have orgies.
And
Fun.
so, you
You wanna
celebrate...
A little bit.
in these steps, you celebrate 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, a year, and then after that you start celebrating your years. And there was somebody, did they have a year yet?
No, they were like at 5 months.
They were like
sober.
5 months, right? So they hadn't even had their 6 month chip yet. He's like, I've got like a year coming up in like
I'm coming.
7 months.
Right. It was just the way it was like, I've got like a year coming up in 7 months, and like that's not coming up, bro.
Hit the half year mark, guy.
You're not even rounding up.
Know your
Like,
place, friend.
First of all, we're proud of you. Second, say 6 months because that's what's coming up sooner.
I love 12-step
man.
meetings because you always run into the characters and they're fun. They're so fun. And one guy handed Ian a card once that said, if you want to get drunk, that's your business. If you want to get sober, that's ours.
How about the guy that took all my
That's
red
not
wines?
a thing that we do. Oh, the guy that like put his hands, the gross guy.
So I bought those little, like you buy 2 for $1. They're little packages of the really rock hard red vines, that really
Oh,
thin
yeah.
ones, the red strings. And so I was really excited about these for some reason. I don't know why, but I just got them. I just opened it up. I had this ball of tangled red vine in front of me, and this guy like gets up and he's walking by the table. And he just reaches down. He goes, "Hey, let me have some of those." And he grabs like the whole ball and just starts.
And he was like, no, bro, you
What?
can
He
have
puts
those
it down. I
now.
said, "Actually, no, those are yours. I got another bag. You go ahead and hang on to those." And he was like offended, like, "Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." Well, you look like you haven't showered in 3 days, and
That's
you're just
awesome.
grabbing my stuff.
Well, and it's weird, and
And
don't
it's
do
weird
that.
in general.
I had somebody walk up when I was pregnant and put his hand on my stomach and say, "God bless the fruit of your womb."
Wow.
And I was like, don't do that.
Saw that same
ever
guy
again.
a few months later, and he could not stop staring at her.
Yeah, no, he had a weird, creepy thing for me. I couldn't fucking. He used to try to offer me rides. Like he would be like, "You want a ride?" And I'm like, "No, not even a fucking little bit, because I don't want to be raped and dismembered."
Would you like to come for a ride? Also, does your baby need a brother or sister? Because that is something I think I can help you with.
Creepy old men are creepy.
It's the old timers in those meetings that make it.
So
They're
I
the
need to
shit.
hear the story about the dollar.
So yeah, took the kids to Jamba Juice the other day, and you guys know, right in front of Brendan Theaters. For those who don't live in Modesto, we have a downtown area that they really want to make a thing, so that we're known for more than meth and unemployment.
It's actually been called Domo.
Oh no,
Yeah, you didn't know that? We have Domo now, downtown Modesto.
that's Dorbs. So they get live acts down there, and they had sort of like a Zydeco band. Like they had like the washboard you play the spoons on, and somebody's playing an accordion. It's kind of a cool little band playing live when we got out of the Jamba Juice. So we walked over to it. Emily's standing on the sidewalk, kind of shaking her groove thing a little bit. She likes to dance to music, and there was a sort of a dance area, and one of my other kids said, "Hey, why don't you go dance where everybody's dancing?" And she got kind of embarrassed. And this old guy sitting next to us looked over. He said, "She likes dancing right where she is. Honey, I'll give you $1 if you keep dancing right now."
Whoa!
And I looked and I said, "Well, let's go, kids." It was creepy as hell. And he was like watching her dance, like wouldn't stop watching her.
That's so weird.
I didn't care for it one bit. And then we went to the Modesto Nuts game last night. another creepy old guy. We were sitting right by the walkway. We were in the row right before, the thoroughfare where people walk past. And this old guy just came and leaned over the bar and started talking to my kids. I was the row behind him. I think he thought they were unattended. He didn't realize I was the parent, at least not for a minute. And he was just chatting them up, just wanted to talk to him. And maybe it's well-intentioned, but I feel like it should be a life skill that you don't walk up to kids you don't know.
Right.
See, that to me
Public
is old school,
places.
though. At a baseball game, that happened to me all the time when I was little. My dad would take me to baseball games. Like,
Maybe it's when you work in a prison.
that could be.
Maybe.
I think you're prison skewed right now.
I
The
think
baseball
I'm
game-
forever going to be prison skewed.
Yeah, and I'm better for it.
The baseball game I'll give a pass to. The guy out in downtown Modesto with the dollar, that's weird.
Yeah, you don't
There
pay
was a
children
time,
to
though,
dance
you
for
were
you.
here for this. You were here for this 18, 19 years ago when downtown Modesto's music scene was kind of a good scene.
Yeah.
We had it.
There was like some happenings.
We had Flying Blind.
Like
was on the
Granddaddy
verge of
came out of
making it big.
Modesto.
Granddaddy, that's right.
They actually got some cred like nationwide.
Who was it? Cherry Poppin' Daddies? Were they from Modesto?
Were they?
I thought
Oh,
they
that would
were.
be cool. I don't think we're cool enough for that.
Are we not cool enough for that? Okay.
And when I say cool enough, it's sort of sarcastic. Cherry Poppin' Daddies was part of the swing revival that
Was it
lasted a
part-
hot minute, but
That wasn't part of Modesto, was it?
I don't know. We'll have to. Now I'm gonna wonder. You keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
Well, because when you said either Granddaddy had a song with Cherry in it, or Cherry Poppin' Daddies is from. I don't think Cherry Poppin' Daddies is from Modesto.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of acts that were in Modesto that stayed here and kind of cut their teeth and did the downtown scene for a minute, and then would move to San Francisco or move to L.A. Aaron Durr is another one that we've talked about
Aaron
before.
Durr, yeah.
He had some indie success, and now it's kind of gone away, and they're trying to revitalize the downtown again. And a guy that gets a lot of shit, and undeservedly so, in my opinion, is a guy named Chris Rickey, who was sort of like the spearhead for getting a lot of music live in downtown Modesto. Now there's another guy in town, Chris Murphy, who also champions a lot of live music in downtown Modesto. But this guy, Chris Rickey, was the one that was like, we can do all these festivals. Let's have a ton of festivals and a ton of live music. And the first X Fest, if you're not familiar with Modesto, 20 years ago we had a thing called X Fest, and it's gone away in the last couple of years. But the first couple of years that we did X Fest was more friendly to the local musician than it ended up being in its last few years. The first year there was 50 stages. No matter what street you went down, you saw a little stage or a little set of risers, and you saw some band trying to make it, and 20, 30 people in front. If it was a decent crowd for a band that you didn't know. And then it sort of evolved into this, like, there's 3 main stages and 2 side stages, and not as many acts and not as many local. But anyway, Modesto, there was a time where it really thrived with the local music scene and the downtown scene, and I wish it would come back. And I'm glad that they're trying to attempt it. I just don't know if they're doing it right. But
I remember when Fat Cat used to have a lot of local bands, and then
Fat Cat is now owned by the house.
I was gonna say, and then it turned into a fucking church.
It's a coffee house for the church
That's the
that
last
has
place
everything.
I got drunk. Oh no, they call it the smaller church. That's what the woman sitting next to me.
They're really
that?
good at selling Jesus.
I don't think they're paying taxes on that coffee house either.
They're not. They don't pay taxes on any of it because they're a fucking church, so they can get away with that. Sorry, that irritates the shit out of me. And then they invite people like fucking Jeff Denham to come down and speak to their
Yeah.
congregation, but they leave out the Democrat. So I can't.
Can we draw a line? We have like cannibalism and child molestation.
Yes.
Are lines that we've drawn. Can we draw a line on the house and put it in that category?
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
That'd
I
be
think
fun.
it's a terrible. It used to be, what was it? The House of Modesto, and now it's just the house. Like
Yeah.
they,
It
was the
they're
House Modesto.
so
It was,
fucking arrogant.
I wish they would change it to the Hizzy.
It's had like 3 different names.
And then it's just the H symbol.
Yeah. No,
Nobody
they've
thinks
branded
there's anything
themselves,
wrong with
and it's
this.
creepy as hell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mega churches in Modesto. There's one I played softball with the other day.
Shelter Cove.
No, it was Bayside, I think is what it was.
I haven't heard of that one. Big Valley Grace.
No, Big Valley Grace, I think that's what it was. Their softball fields were these like manicured, like it was insane. And they had like 3 different playgrounds for the kids, and they had a football field. You know, on one token, and you guys are going to disagree on this, but on one token, I don't really see anything wrong with having places like that for people to have like safe, fun games to play.
I don't think either of us would disagree with that. I think
No.
what we would disagree with is the political messages that those churches send out without paying taxes, and they make millions doing it.
And there are a lot of things those churches could be doing to improve their communities. It's no accident that a city like Modesto that is economically very disadvantaged and, we're on the top of all the lists for bad things like unemployment and foreclosures and things like that. Mega churches breed in places like that and tend to prey on people of lower socioeconomic statuses. And if they could be improving their community, that would be great. But instead, they're putting up water slides inside their church to get people in on Sundays. And then they're asking those same people for money. So it's just, I don't know. I have feelings about it.
It's disgusting.
Okay. So let's get into our Trump roundup.
And if I'm wrong about that, please let us know what awesome things they're doing for the community, because I've looked and I can't find anything.
Modesto is a big thing that the House does, but it's
once a year.
Is that where they pick up garbage for a day? Oh, that's neat.
I feel like they could do more. They could do more than just a once a year thing.
With all that money that they put into that gym.
That's them getting their poor members to go out and pick up garbage.
Right.
Like, how about let's actually do some things for the city?
Meanwhile, on a WTF Modesto Facebook page, I keep reading stuff about their main pastor living like a king with like cars and a huge ass house.
Right.
And they do. And that's the thing with all of these mega churches is the pastors, it's like, if you have an earpiece microphone and bleached hair, that's not a godly.
God is part of my 5 friends and family on my phone. He can call me for free from heaven, and I'm getting it right now on my T-Mobile. We have free texting between us. He's here, folks. He's here, and he has risen. Not in front of you. He's actually call waiting, another one coming in. They can wait. God takes precedence, but he is here. I've got him on my iPhone right now.
And they're like non-denominational, and they do that so that way they can prey on people without specific beliefs and I think they encompass everyone.
I think that's a whole other argument within religion, because how many different versions of the Bible are there? How many interpretations and
well, King James, the one that we mostly live off of right now, just fucking wrote his own.
King James is a translation of like another translation, I think.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I mean, King James isn't even really the dominant version anymore. You've got these New World translations. You've got the Our God is an Awesome God version that puts like the words like tubular in the Bible.
No, they did not.
I'm
that Jonah was
exaggerating
like,
a little bit.
hey, I don't want to go in the well. But they were like, hey man, can't watch Sunday football if you don't.
They took all the these and thous out. Yeah, they just made it like accessible and stuff. I mean, I don't mean to be I'm anti-religion, and I'm not. I grew up very religious, and there are lots of aspects of being a person of faith that I think are awesome. But
and it's a huge
in a week when in a week where we got the news that there was beyond extensive sexual abuse of children happening in the Catholic Church in Pennsylvania over a period of decades. And the fact that a lot of these mega churches end up, I mean, how often do we hear stories about so-and-so caught with child pornography, so-and-so who campaigned against gay marriage, found with, 3 lovers outside of his house. And there's just, I think that there's not enough scrutiny. They hide behind the tax-exempt status. They pass a lot of moral judgment on people. And there's aspects of it that are problematic, I think.
So let's hop into our Trump roundup. And I know that you guys wanted to talk about the Mueller investigation and how it turns out that the Trump team has actually been working with the Mueller investigation, cooperating for the last few months. And that apparently enraged Donald Trump, yes?
So the New York Times article exposing it enraged Donald Trump. But the White House lead counsel has been working with the Mueller investigation and cooperating, and essentially the guy who's done, I think his name is McGahn, something like that.
Yeah, McGahn.
He has basically been upset with Donald Trump constantly throwing him under the bus, and so there's speculation there that he's overly cooperating with the Mueller investigation. And so when the New York Times published that, of course, Donald Trump had to tweet about it and say the failing New York Times. What I love, though, is this CNN article that I read about it. At the bottom was like, of note, the New York Times stock has risen 77% since Trump's first failing New York Times tweet. And it's like, that's awesome. But
yeah, it's kind of funny that Donald Trump is mad that his lawyers have been kind of stepping out on him, apparently. It's kind of sad when you find out that the person you thought was faithful to you hasn't been faithful, isn't it, Donnie?
Well, and not only that, it's. Sorry, I just got distracted. I was thinking, I strongly feel that Melania Trump trolls Donald Trump. Like,
Oh, yeah.
trolls him hard fucking core.
Yep.
Like, for funsies.
If you believe any of Omarosa's book, she's been wanting to divorce him for a while, but won't do it till they leave office.
Probably.
I'm sure it's contractually obligated not to.
I honestly don't hate on Melania as much as a lot of people do. I think
Yeah,
the
me
hatred
neither.
towards her is misogynistic and often slut shaming and.
I think she's rather benign. Like I think
she
she's
is.
just kind of there.
She is complicit. In anybody within his circle that signed a non-disclosure agreement or a contract has been complicit. What's
Yeah.
her face? Marla Maples is complicit because she wanted her daughter to know her father. Well, that's on him. You signed an NDA. I don't know. It irritates me.
But it paints a picture of how he's operated the same way for years. I mean, it was behind several walls because he was just a private sector businessman. But now that he is the president of the United States, and he's trying to use the same bully tactics that he used when he was running businesses poorly, he does whatever he wants and then bullies people into signing NDAs, and nobody can tell tales on him. I mean, there's tons of people with shit on Trump who can't talk about it because they've signed agreements not to. And now that he's trying to do it in the White House, what it sounds like is that, I mean, you can't do the same thing with employees of the federal government. So
I think where George Soros and Tim Steyer need to spend their money, or Tom Steyer, what's his name? I get emails
Tom
from
Steyer.
Tom.
I
Where
love
I
his
think-
videos. He's like the Sarah McLachlan of.
he is.
Where
Totally. He's like Tina Yothers.
Where they need to spend their money is offering these people who signed NDAs legal counsel
Yeah.
and support and fuck it. But pay for that.
Yeah.
So that way they can come forward and give all the dirt they have. Because I mean, I think Ivana is going to support Trump no matter what because she's just as vapid
Right.
and egotistical. But I think people like Marla Maples, who was married to him, his second wife, who has kind of a soul, I think she would come forward with a lot. There's speculation that she's the one that released the initial tax return.
Really?
So yeah, because they were married at the time the time period of that tax return was when they were married, so she would have legal access to it.
So when I think about these NDAs and people not coming forward and saying anything about them, I think about the money that's owed if you do break the NDA. And I think of two types of people. There's either the type of person that can totally afford it and shouldn't give a shit if he breaks it because fuck it, I'll just write the check. Or the type of person who breaks it and then like sue me for what? Like it's a cartoon amount of money. You're going to sue
Right.
me for $27 gajillion. Okay. He fucked a chimpanzee. Sue me. You know, like
Right.
it's like when you rent a car from Hertz and they say, "Hey, do you want our insurance?" Like, "No, I've got insurance." "Yeah, but if you wreck the car, you owe us the amount of the car right there and then." "Oh, okay, I'll write you that $37,000 check that I don't have." Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I know when Social Security came after my dad and said that it's a long sordid story, but they said that he owed, my dad's fully disabled, and they said that he made too much money, which is funny. And since 2013, they needed him to pay back all of the money that they've paid him. So it was over $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, we need you to write this check by the 30th.
Do you want your debit card or just write us a check
And it's
or
like, it's laughable. It's like, yeah, okay.
half cash, half card?
Which of
How do you
your
wanna do
children
this?
would you like to sell us?
Right. That's what I don't know. Like, why aren't people coming forward with these and breaking these NDAs? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to get sued and not pay money that they can't afford anyway? Or write a quick check that they can afford?
I wonder how much he has on people, because there might be some like political clout that he has over people. Like Stormy Daniels, don't give a fuck. She's a porn star. Like
Right.
she got no secrets. But there are people out there that have something to lose, and I wouldn't doubt that he has stuff on them.
Well, that's the thing that we're seeing a lot. I mean, you've seen people like Omarosa or his Michael Cohen, and the attack that the Trump administration is making, and that Rudy Giuliani specifically is making, is, well, these aren't trustworthy people. These are assholes. These are liars. And it's like, A, you hired all of them. B, you defended them all up until the point they said something you didn't like. But that's the thing, is that these are all people of questionable moral content.
Absolutely.
But that shouldn't exclude them as credible sources for material, especially when they have things like recordings.
That's like saying she should have died. She was a hooker. What do you expect? They have a right
Right.
to be alive.
Well,
they have a
and not
right to
only-
tell their story.
Not only that, when you have co-defendants in a trial and one decides to roll over on the other, you're still going to take that co-defendant statement. I mean,
Right.
and
But they're winning in the court of public opinion, though, because they're saying, well, who's going to believe Omarosa? It's like, well, yeah, why the fuck did he hire her into a high position in the White House? Why did he have Michael Cohen as his go-to guy for decades? And now he's trying to convince us, like, this guy was never trustworthy. It's like, well, can people just pay attention to more than what's happening right this very second? Can you connect some dots, please?
I think it's too much of a stretch of the brain for people to really critically think about these things. So you've got like Rudy Giuliani and Kellyanne Conway, and they say these like, I mean, it's brilliant the way they double talk.
Yeah.
But like this whole, the truth is really not the truth. What the fuck does that mean? I mean,
Right.
they've created this.
1984. Don't believe your eyes and your ears.
It's going to be the most lasting legacy of the Trump administration, more than any judges that they put in anywhere, any policy. Those can all be undone with time. But undermining the nature of truth so that nobody can believe anything that they hear, even if it's right in front of their faces, is, I mean, how do we come back from that? There's really, I don't know how we restore anybody's faith in any sort of objective truth.
It's not, I mean, the president supporting this idea is not helpful, but I mean, I see people who watch YouTube videos and they see it as the truth, and it's the truth the mainstream media is hiding from you. And it's like, I can literally make a video about anything.
Right.
It doesn't make it true. And we're in the age of Wikipedia where everybody can add whatever they want to sway your opinion. And if it fits your cozy narrative, you're going to go with it.
Well, so what we should have is a population that gets educated on how to question the things that they are told, how to look for multiple sources, how to challenge ideas and not just accept everything that they are given. But what instead we have is a group of people who are being trained systematically, and I think intentionally, by the Trump people to just shrug and say nothing is truth.
Kelly,
and
people don't want to. They don't want to, though. We had a whole conversation. Remember, we had a whole conversation with somebody where he said, when will you stop posting negative shit about Trump? And I said, as soon as you start fact-checking the shit that you post. And he said, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Where should I go look to fact check the shit? And I said, I'm going to bring Michelle in on this one because she knows this a little bit better than I do. And so you came in and you listed the sources that you find credible.
Yes.
And I'm telling you right now, completely ignored. It was scuffed off like a no.
Right.
I don't think people want to.
I even listed websites like the government where you can look for legislation and read the bills in its entirety. And nobody wants to do that because it's boring. It's easier to have it packaged sensationally and handed to you on a platter so you can be angry about it. And I mean, we've all been caught in this cycle for a long time. Nobody recognized how dangerous it was until Trump got elected.
It's frustrating to see people say, yeah, those are pretty good facts, but this video from truthamerikaneagle.freedomflag.com with lots of whoosh, whoosh, and like poignant words and buzzwords,
swelling
like
music and
yeah, fake news media. This is better.
So there will always be perspectives on things. There will always be people's takes. There will always be a liberal take on the facts and a conservative take on the facts. And it's challenging. You can present numbers to anyone, and we've all sort of learned that numbers can be used to frame things however you want. So it's not that we can't use those to make a case, but there's even a lower threshold than that, that when you have videos of Trump saying three different things that directly contradict each other, that doesn't even go to the level of, here are the statistics on this. It's, look, he said this, and then he said this. He's standing at the same pulpit. Look, he's wearing the same tie. Like, that is not a high bar to clear.
Right.
And when Obama did it, I was pissed that he did it. Like, it's not hard to just say, wow, it's kind of fucked up. Hey, he said this, but now he's saying the exact opposite thing. I don't understand how hard that is for people to just at least scratch their heads a little bit. But
Again, it's how it's packaged. I think it's how it's packaged.
It's how it's packaged, and I think there was so much backlash from this. I think a lot of people who voted for Trump thought like it was just any other election, and they were like, ha ha ha, liberal, you lost. I don't think they expected the backlash that it received, and I think that caused a lot of people to double down.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you to rub it. And there are a lot of stupid ass Democrats and liberals out there who, it's the
true.
blue wave, hashtag blue wave. So I think if we backed off of that and kind of like talked to people and, really one-on-one, I think you would find that a lot of people don't like what he says, but they bought the fucking pony and they don't know how to walk away from it.
Yeah.
I think the narrative now is he may say some things you don't like, but change is happening, and that's all that matters.
Right, but what change?
Well,
Aside from
people
the
are
deficit
getting
growing.
People are getting more money on their
Right
paychecks
now. Let's see how it works when the taxes are due.
Like Trump released a video, was it today or yesterday, where he was talking about the Helsinki conference, and he cited all the great things that have come from that conference. And even if you don't disagree with how he acted, which I don't know how you defend the way he acted at that conference, can anybody point to one thing that came out of that conference that's benefited anybody other than Russia? I mean, even something that I might disagree with, like what came of it other than a bunch of people pissed off?
I'm sure if you Google it, somebody will have made that point. Probably Alex Jones.
Oh, I like Alex Jones. He looks like he's a good cuddler.
Right?
Hey, I want to kind of shift gears here, not to really get away from Trump, but to kind of delve a little deeper into the mindset we were talking about here with checking facts and digging in and choosing your side. So again, and this we've referenced Gary on the show I don't know how many times, and I think the reason I go back to him is because I've got a lot of conservative friends who just post dumb shit, but then don't really have a conversation for it. Gary's willing to engage. So,
but I've never seen Gary's picture. So when you say Gary, all I think of is SpongeBob SquarePants pet snail Gary, which makes him seem like a fun person to argue with.
I've known this guy since I was in third grade. He's a good dude. Played on a basketball team with him. He's the beard guy now. He's the beard and American flag shirt, but the American flag where it's like frayed and burnt at the end.
Oh,
That
he
American
really
flag.
understands
Yes.
America.
Okay.
Neat.
So here's the rant. So if you try to point out that Democrats have a history of backing racism and inequality, many current Democrats will point out that the political parties switched in the 60s.
They did.
Right around the time JFK was murdered. So did they really change their entire thought process, or is it something else? Ask yourself why this switch. If you are a rationally thinking human being, you will find that it's not because they care about minorities or the rights for women to vote. In fact, they made themselves even more disgraceful because now not only are they hiding their racism behind political agendas, but the fact that they are using those same people to keep them in office and try to win elections is comparable to a Ponzi scheme. So, not only are they now the great deceivers, but they also are now trying to portray Republicans as racist, white, ignorant rednecks. Look, there may be a couple racist, white, ignorant rednecks, maybe even thousands, but as a whole, the party is made of patriotic, blue-collared Americans, which used to be the backbone of our country. The builders of the future. Over the last 10 or 15 years, that base has shrank and coincides with the income equality in this country, in my opinion. In order for this country to be great, that base needs to be restored. With Democrats or Republicans, it matters not who strengthens our country as long as it is done. That is why I voted for POTUS, because his policies, by nature, will do exactly that, and that is making America great again. Rant over, #MAGA. Michelle, you've got your hand up.
Yes.
What you want to say?
So, okay. The reason the party switched in the 60s was because after Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act, the Dixiecrats switched to Republican. So
Right.
that's where the racism stopped, because a lot of the Southern Democrats were still extremely racist. So they became Republican because they were pissed.
Because
at
their
Lyndon B.
Democrat
Johnson.
president let him down and
Yes.
signed. Okay.
So that explains, like, we lost the dead weight is what happens, and the Republicans inherited it.
Okay.
So there's that.
Okay.
So when you're saying that they are hiding behind their political agendas, I don't give a fuck if they're racist. If they keep enacting things like the Civil Rights Act, like, do whatever you want.
Right.
They're hiding behind all these awesome things they're doing for other people.
They're hiding behind the black person now able to sit in front of the bus, not in the back. Assholes.
and it is arguable. Like, I still think of Clinton now. At the time, I didn't know any different, so I didn't have a problem with Clinton, but now I think of him as a Dixiecrat.
Yeah, big time.
He was more Republican than Democrat. And he enacted a lot of stuff that was, Gary doesn't mention it, probably because he doesn't fucking know. You don't get this off of me, but the crime bill was a huge blow to the African American community.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Like that's implicit racism, like in a
right.
in a little frame right there for you.
So we own that. I don't think there's a single progressive or Democrat that doesn't own that. We know.
Right.
But, and that's why, I mean, there's
Okay.
a lot to that. But
Not to go back to the Bible, but I'm gonna. There's
Preach, Brother
a
Kelly.
verse in the New Testament that I think is very applicable to life everywhere. That says simply, "By their fruits you shall know them." What they do tells you who they are. And if the Democrats, to the extent that they have enacted policies that benefit minorities, great. They haven't always done it, like Michelle said. To the extent that Republicans have done that, great for them too. But for him to say that Democrats are trying to sell this narrative that Republicans are racist, it's by their fruits, it's by what they've done that you can point to them and say they have gerrymandered the districts and systematically disenfranchised minority vote everywhere. They have made it much harder for people to vote in certain socioeconomic categories. They've targeted communities that aren't white and made it harder for them to vote. I mean, just across the board, we could go down and present evidence of the things that they've done. It's all on the public record. These are policies they've enacted and laws.
And the thing is, the people like Gary and the people who say stuff like this, they don't understand what racism is, because when you point out gerrymandering, they're like, that's not racist. I mean, that is what it is. Or when you point out the fact that there is such a thing as generational trauma, there is such a thing as, I mean, you will never establish the wealth that the Rockefellers had because it was generational wealth. It just accumulated and piled over time. And so when there are African American and Hispanic communities still in poverty, it's not because they're lazy. It's because it was like, hey, the Civil Rights Act passed, whatever now.
Right.
And that was it. There was no...
We threw you your bone.
Right.
Go play.
And people like Gary are like, see, we freed you. You're welcome.
Right?
And it's just weird. I mean, but they turn a blind eye to the actual racism, the systemic racism. You being racist doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. But when the entire system is rigged against somebody because of their skin color, that matters. And so that's what people fight.
See, I think this gets into another argument. It's the white privilege argument, where now that I understand over these last few years, now that I understand what white privilege is, I had the same mentality of, they have the same opportunities that I do. I work just as hard for my money as the next person. So how is that white privilege? I worked hard, and I think that we're toeing on that line again of like, they could get out of the ghettos if they wanted to. They could make more money if they wanted to. They could be in better districts and cast their vote if they wanted to. And why is it wrong for me to say I'm proud to be white when we have to let them all say that they're proud to be black? And I think that we're toeing on that same argument again, too.
Yes, because it's all interrelated. That's racism. I mean, that's racism. White privilege is...
Yeah.
It's systemic racism.
To have a conversation about it, there is a whole big picture and a history that you have to buy into. And if they don't, then their arguments make sense in a vacuum that doesn't take into account anything outside of the little box they're looking at. And that's why you can't have the conversation, is that they're not willing to even buy into the ideas behind it. And they're pretty complicated ideas that take some grappling. But if they're not willing to grapple, then what is there to talk about?
Right. And it basically boils down to meritocracy. I mean, this concept that if you work hard, you'll get it. And it's not true. I mean, I don't know many people who don't work their ass off. None of them are rich. I don't know a single rich person. Actually, that's not true. I kind of do. But I don't associate with a single rich person. It just is what it is. I mean, the minute that you stop believing that, the system works against you, it's like the American dream goes away. People stop. They don't want to believe that, that it's not going to happen to them. It's the whole disenfranchised millionaire concept. Like, people really believe that they're going to be millionaires one day, and that's why they keep supporting.
Right. And how long has it been since that was even possible for most people? And really that's what has happened, is that an ever smaller number of people have so much more money than you can even possibly wrap your head around.
Apple became trillionaire.
And we have a trillionaire, ladies and gentlemen. The American dream is not what it was, and we never had a moment where we just kind of admitted to ourselves that that's not a realistic goal to even shoot for anymore. So what we have now is the vast majority of people all angry at each other because they feel like somebody among us must have taken the American dream away. It's a lot easier to blame the black people or the Mexicans for taking the American dream away when the people who took it away is a group of just a few hundred people who have all the wealth in the world and are watching us fight amongst ourselves.
There was a really good cartoon that I saw once, and it was a union worker and a millionaire sit in the same room, or union worker and a millionaire sit in the same room, and they're having a meeting. The millionaire orders a pizza, takes 99 of the slices, and tells everyone to fight over and tells everyone the union guy took your last slice and walks away. I mean, and that's basically what we have. You have a whole bunch of rich people that are telling you that it's everybody else's fault that you don't have any money. It's not theirs. Like when the fucking wage issue comes up, people are like, well, you shouldn't get $15 an hour if you work at Burger King when this paramedic only makes $15 an hour saving your life. Okay, give him a raise too.
Right.
Don't have an issue with that. No
Also,
problem.
my buddy became a paramedic after going to school for like 6 weeks. So, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think what they do is tough, and I appreciate everything they do. But don't come at me.
You're not a hero.
Don't come at me like they've been at Stan State for the last 6 years learning paramedic stuff. My buddy took a 6-week course and then was given the keys to an ambulance.
I know a couple people who got a respiratory therapy certificate in 9 months. They're respiratory therapists at Kaiser, and they make about $15 an hour more than I do. And I went to school for fucking
Can I get a respiratory
6 years.
therapist certificate in 9 months?
I think they're fighting for bachelor's degrees now in respiratory therapy, which is weird. But
How long is that fight going to last? Because I'll still hop on that if I got time.
Man, get
that's
getting scared.
absurd to me. Like, I mean, if we're talking about meritocratic thinking, why do you deserve that? What did you do? Why don't I deserve it? I went to school forever. So are you going to say that you worked harder than me in your respiratory therapy school?
I am in the entertainment business controlled by the Jews, and I happen to be one. Where's my $1 million check?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, were you kind of half expecting a letter to come in there and be like, all right, now you're really in the club. Maybe you got to make 10 years as a Jew first.
You're Jewish and in radio? Shit. Do you want this direct deposit, or do you want to deposit the check every week yourself? All right. At the end of the day, this is all, I mean, it's all fun fodder to talk about, but what needs to happen ultimately at the end of the day?
For what?
Well, I don't know, because there's so many things. Like, what needs to happen?
Extinction.
Mass extinction?
Poor people rise up and
Yes.
and take back.
Does there
That's
need to be
a more
another? Does there need to be
realistic
another labor revolution?
No, there was more than just a labor revolution. I think the labor revolution will take a while because there are still people who think that unions are useless. And so they haven't, because the unions have been around, they haven't experienced life without them. And nobody has taken time to read a history book in a while. So they don't understand what's going to happen. And so when the union sector is weakened, which it's going to be, I think it'll take a few years before people start to feel it. I think all of this shit right here that's the hard thing. That's the sad thing, is it's going to take a few years for people to feel all of these policies that Trump has put into place. But once it hits, it's going to fucking hit.
Yeah. Our kids, they're going to be some fucking hardcore revolutionaries.
That's why I'm glad we had Jack. We've got that Jack DNA that we're going to spread around. He's going to make some savage soldiers for that.
Well, Sean's more the social justice person. Jack's whatever way the wind blows you.
No, Jack's Antifa.
Between the two of them, they're the leaders of the revolution.
Jack will fucking knock your block off. But
They'll call him Backpack Jack. He's the poster boy for the revolution, man.
Backpack Jack. I fucking love it.
It's going to be awesome.
You know, I saw his article come up again last week in Clickbait.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah, it comes up every once in a while.
You'll never believe what this California school did to this 5-year-old 2 years ago. Oh, man. All right. Michelle was kind of laughing at this earlier. No, we'll get to that here in a second. Hey, we didn't talk about this at the start of the show. but we're gonna start a little weight loss challenge on this podcast.
Yes, we are. We're serious about it. I don't know why you guys want to lose weight. You're married and off the market. You can let yourselves go. I need something to motivate me because I'm having a hard time getting back on the horse.
Did you hear Kelly say that you basically let yourself go?
Right?
I said you can let yourselves go. I didn't say you have.
I don't know why you don't want to be fat anymore.
I called nobody fat. I will if you guys want me to.
You know, we haven't heard the tape of Trump using the N-word yet, but we're all pretty sure he did. I'm just saying, it was implied.
It's going to be anticlimactic if that damn tape ever comes out.
It really is.
They'll play it and be like, see? And we're like, yeah,
You know
that's what it sounds like.
You know what it's going to be? He's going to be saying it, but it's going to be him saying, everyone keeps saying that I said, and then he'll say it. And then he'll be like, but I never said it. And they'll be like, we got you on tape saying that. No. Yeah, so we're going to try and get a little weight loss challenge going in here. You said you at one point in time lost a dramatic amount of weight twice.
Yeah, grad school weight is a thing. I totally gained the grad school weight. And I did it again a few years later as I guess I did it at the beginning of grad school and at the end of grad school, yeah.
Peeled off some LBs.
Yeah, with the Wii Fit of all things. Remember the Wii, the Nintendo
Yeah.
Wii?
Oh, yeah.
They had a balance board that you could do yoga, balancing things. You could run on it. I just did that and push-ups, and I lost like 60 pounds.
Do you remember like the most iconic video that ever came out of the Wii Fit?
No.
The guy videotaping his girl doing the Wii Fit. And she was in her underwear.
No.
It was so viral.
Oh,
You're going to have to
man.
look it up. Only because it was like, why would he do that? But he did. So,
That's illegal now.
yeah.
Yeah.
She knew it was happening. They were on Tosh. It was a whole thing. Anyway.
Anyway,
Oh, if it was on Tosh, then it was super.
No, like they did a web
above the
redemption.
board.
They had an interview. They were on the show. It wasn't
Nice.
Oh.
Anyway.
the Wii Fit trainer was like my best pal. Like I spent more time with my Wii Fit trainer than pretty much anybody else for a year or two. I miss her sometimes.
So how are we doing this then? Are we doing a Wii Fit trainer?
No.
Are we
No.
getting together? Are we doing what are we
Are
going to
we
do
working
here?
out together?
Well, that's what I meant. Are we working out together?
I just
I
like we
don't
do
think
some
we're gonna have
check-ins. We do
time
some
for that.
accountability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just check in. This is not, let's be clear, this is about feeling healthy and not shaming any sort of body shape or size. But we're going to count pounds and percentages. And we're going to measure this shit. And there will be a winner. And there will be two losers.
For me, I'm not happy with my body type right now. And that's a part of confidence more than body shaming.
That's a bit of your motivation.
I just want to be able to climb stairs without sucking wind. That's what I want.
I want to put on my shoes and tie them without running out of breath.
Right? Oh my God, why is that the thing?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh, we're getting real here.
I want to be back to the weight that I was when I thought I was fat when I was 22.
I
You
hate
want-
20-something me.
You want to get back to that, like, should I be bulimic weight even though you're already not fat? But
Oh, no,
you wonder?
I couldn't. I wasn't. I liked McDonald's Happy Meals way too much. But it was just really depressing because I was like, me and my sister were laughing the other day. I saw some pictures of me on my 21st birthday in Vegas that before, like, you know, when MySpace was a thing, I wouldn't put on my profile because I had like a smidgen of back fat. And it was like, ill. And then I was like, that's dumb.
Yeah, well, women are super sensitive about that anyway. The whole, like, if you take a picture, run it by me before you post it. That's
No.
strictly
Okay,
a girl thing.
Stop
That is
generalizing.
that's a girl thing.
It is not a girl thing. I've met many guys who've been like that.
Who are those guys? Because I've never met them, and we have the same circle of friends.
No, we don't.
Okay.
I had a circle of friends far before I met you.
She came into existence the day you met her.
She didn't.
And they were mostly men.
Humans were created 5,000 years ago with Adam and Eve. There were none before them, and men like to approve their pictures before they're posted.
I've actually only met one woman who liked to approve her pictures, and she was severely insecure. So, and it didn't matter because they all looked the same.
Okay,
All of her pictures.
I'm amongst the people, so I just feel like I have a better finger on the pulse here. But I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Yes.
I'm just saying I've got a better sample pool.
You mean your listeners?
Yeah.
That's not a sample pool.
Oh, okay. This is confirmation bias happening right now, and you're being a little borderline.
I'm not saying anything. Don't give me that look.
This is where you need to say something.
I don't know. He does have his finger on a pulse. It's not the definitive pulse of all the people, but there is a subset of the population that he interacts with on a regular basis.
So there is a subset of the population that possibly does.
Yeah, I think that's all you were saying.
No,
I've-
it wasn't. He
I've
was saying
done-
all women.
Oh, no. Ian, that is incorrect and wrong, sir.
You know what? You make a good point. I give you that.
Thank you. See how we
I
did
do
that?
think you're right. All I was going to say was we've done whole topics on our show about, like, do you have to approve the picture before they post it? And our phones have been on fire. People going, fuck yeah, you do.
So you have a demographic that you intentionally strive for, and they tend to be, you called them Heather.
Yep. This is more confirmation bias.
But I'm sure there are topics that you put out there where the phone is dead, right? You get one or two calls and nobody...
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And that one
This is the
resonated.
most frustrating part about my job is we can have the most thoughtful topic in the whole wide world. It can be like, hey, this homeless guy was fed by this one person, and now they're giving this person like a lot of flack because you shouldn't feed the homeless because they're like cats, and if you do, they'll come back to the same spot. What do you think about that? And we'll get like no phone calls at all. Then we'll be like, hey, blue or red, what's your favorite color? And our phones will be on fire for like an hour and a half. I like blue because... it's blue.
Fuck you, red's better.
And the thing is if you took that into consideration, it would sound like there's no women in the world who like to have a thought-provoking conversation, and I could tell you for fucking surezies that's not true.
You're right.
We,
You're right.
We
You're
do
right.
live in the Central Valley of California.
Yes. We
Happily.
should be the sample size for all of the world.
We should be.
Hey, millennials are sharing passwords and it's pissing companies off.
Yes.
So wait, what are the specifics of this getting
that.
healthy thing?
Oh God, we got to go back to that. Huh? What did I stray and Kelly brought us back?
A little bit. Dogs
Told
and
you
cats
you could
living
do it.
together.
Are we doing percentage of body weight?
Yeah. Does that mean we have to do a fucking weigh-in?
Yeah.
I think we do.
Do we have to tell people our weight? Or we're just for ourselves?
I think. Okay, first of
we're
all, how
gonna
long
have
is this
to.
going to last?
Yeah. Do we want to do like a month? Like
6 weeks. There's always the 6 week challenge.
from now through the end of September? That's about 6 weeks, right?
Yeah. And right into Halloween when candy happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we say? End of September, first week of October, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, I'll mark it on a calendar. As soon as we have a definitive day on when it starts, we'll weigh in that day.
And then after that, I think we should have a sustain challenge because we're heading into the holidays.
Oh, I like that.
So whoever can sustain
Nice.
their weight.
Okay. So should we weigh ourselves today?
No,
Why?
I think we should figure out a start date and then do it.
I thought tomorrow was our start date.
Tomorrow our start date. Okay, well, let's weigh ourselves.
I'm
today.
gonna start setting my clock earlier and getting up, and I invested in some exercise equipment that's.
Are we
collecting
telling
dust.
each other what we all weigh, or are we weighing?
I think
ourselves
for
in
account,
secret?
For accountability,
for each
I
other,
think
we
we're
should at
gonna
least tell
have
each
to.
other.
All right, keep it going for a minute.
Oh no, no,
don't say it out
I have my
Oh
own.
no, I'm not
I have
doing it
my
on the
scale.
podcast.
Yeah, no, I weigh myself naked, so fuck you. I'm not doing that here.
But we have to have the same scale.
Do we?
Yeah, because they're all calibrated differently.
And when we weigh in for the podcast, we're not going to be weighing in on our 6 weeks naked together. I mean, we can, but that's probably not going to happen.
Okay.
We can't have a naked weight party.
Where's your Facebook Live now, sir? Oh man, I hate starting to work out.
All right.
Basically, I'm gonna throw up today when I go home and get on the elliptical. That's always what
Present
happens.
to you
Does that have vomit on it?
the Walgreens
No,
scale.
it's muriatic acid.
All right, you guys are barefoot. I'm taking my damn shoes off,
Okay.
Woohoo! Another pound down.
motherfuckers. Oh man, I'm nervous.
And stick my.
All right, we're not going to say our weight though right now, right?
Taking my keys out of my pocket.
And Michelle goes on.
Tell me that's not dried vomit.
It's not.
Are you down again?
No, I'm about the same. I'm like down 0.2 ounces.
And Kelly?
How do I zero this thing out?
It'll go away.
Yeah, you have to wait. I have to go potty.
All right, this is the weigh-in right here. Michelle's going potty during the podcast.
I have to. Sorry.
It's a potty
Oh
cast.
my god, I'm at 229.
Oh, you said it out loud. Hey, well, Michelle's coming back. I'll say mine out loud.
What is it?
259.
All right. Yeah. Hey, this will be good for accountability.
So, because I'm a little on the taller end, I'm 6 foot, and so a lot of people, when I say my weight out loud, no, you're not. No, it just spreads out in different spots. Like for me, it spreads out a little bit in my belly, but mostly in the back of my thighs. And I have ginormous calves for some ungodly reason. So I wouldn't have guessed that for you. I would have guessed, honestly, the way you carry yourself, I would have went 15, 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah, I'm very dense. Like, I can't do a back float. I sink.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Seriously. Even when I lost, I was down to like 175, and people were telling me I looked unhealthy. Like, dude, eat a cheeseburger.
Do you have a target weight that you want to be at?
I'd like to be like 180 is good, sustainable for me. But even when I was at my good weight and I felt good and I went and bought new clothes for myself, my BMI still had me in the obese range.
Okay.
Because of my height. I'm packed densely.
So in 6 weeks, what would you say is a realistic goal for you?
210.
You want to drop 20 pounds in 6 weeks?
Yeah, I think I can do that.
All right.
I bet I can do more, but I'm going to do it.
Let's see, 259, basically 260. I want to try and get to 230. I'll say 30 pounds.
230 has been my trigger weight. That's when I always get back on the horse. I thought I was like 220. I'm a little disappointed.
240 was always my trigger weight.
Yeah.
I saw 240. I'm like, fuck it, we got to do this again. And then I'll get back down to like 210, 205.
Man.
I don't know what in the fuck got me. I was 266 last week.
Really?
I dropped 7 pounds. Yeah.
Wow, man.
So I don't know what in the fuck got me up to 260, but
I got T-shirts I really want to wear again. So
that's my thing too. So many Goo Goo Dolls shirts that don't fit right.
There's nothing worse than putting on that shirt and being like, yep, I can't wear this one. It feels tight when I breathe.
So, Michelle, you do not have to. I don't expect you to. I'm not asking you to. But Kelly and I, because you just got back from going potty, said how much we weigh. I don't want you to if you're not comfortable. But pounds-wise...
I honestly don't think I look like I weigh as much as I do, so I'm not worried about it. I'm 170 right now, which is actually what I was when I fucking...
Don't cheat yourself. It said 168.
You're right.
So what's your goal? What do you think over 6 weeks?
So when I was 130, I was too skinny. I didn't like it. And now I'm not my favorite. So probably my goal weight is going to be like 145.
Okay.
58, 40. So 25. You want to lose 25 pounds.
But I'll also take it like 150 or higher if it's muscle mass. I don't mind it if it's muscle mass. I do if it's not.
Okay.
So I'm less about weight and more about how clothes fit.
Well, listen, we're all pretty much in the same range here because Kelly wants to drop about 20 pounds. I want to drop around 30 pounds. You want to drop around 25 pounds. So at the end of the day, I mean, there can be a winner, but if we hit our goals or get close to them, then I think we all win.
What do we get to do?
Disney trip.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, I want to lose more than
Reno
20.
trip.
I would say in 6 weeks, take me down to 200. I'll drop 30 in 6 weeks.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't want to set something that seems insurmountable.
Well, we're still going by percentage, right? It's a target weight. What?
Oh, I'm just thinking, how do you drop fucking 30 pounds in 6 weeks?
You want to drop
Pretty
25?
easy to do, actually.
Really?
If you go 1,500 calories a day and work out once a day or elliptical once a day, you'll drop off pretty quick. The hard part is when you hit that plateau where you initially, like you have that initial 15 or 20 pound drop off from working out and then you plateau. What you have to do is you actually have to elevate your heart rate. And that's the part where it gets challenging because you'll still lose weight, only it'll go from like 3 pounds a week to like a pound a week if you don't increase the intensity.
If I hit a 15 pound to 20 pound plateau, then I'll be kind of where I want to be anyway, so I'm not worried about it.
And then it's a matter of maintaining. The psychology behind it, though, is that people give up because they don't see the losses as quickly as they used to because they're doing the exact same exercises. And so they get frustrated and say, fuck it, it's never going to come off. So that's where people kind of get derailed is because then they realize if I have to increase my heart rate and go a little bit more intense, that's harder, and I don't want to do that either.
So for the past week, I've been, Ian's old personal trainer actually created a meal plan for me. I feel kind of bad about it because I was supposed to start working out with him, but it was too far. He was in Turlock. So he created this meal plan, and it's a 1,400 calorie one. And it's like, there's no flavor in food. And I was like, fuck this, because I wanted some chili cheese fries like nobody's business. And then I got on the scale and saw that I'd lost some poundage, and it was like, ugh. So I have to eat the flavorless food.
You need Guy Fieri to come bring you to fucking Flavor Town, bitch.
Right. There's
All
no
right.
flavor.
So Kelly wants to lose 30. I want to lose 30. Michelle, you want to lose 25. And if we make these goals plus or minus 5.
Well, so I'm going to continue. My hope is to continue losing weight after our 6 week challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can lose 30 in 6 weeks. I mean, can you lose 30 in 6 weeks? Is that your goal? Your
If I
actual
go hard
goal?
enough, I
Yeah,
can.
he can. He's done it before.
I mean, I'd rather set a sustainable goal and whatever. Yeah, 30.
Well, that's
30
why I
pounds.
said. So after the 6 weeks, let's see how long we can sustain because the holidays are coming up, and that's really honestly going to be the hardest time because there's all kinds of food and pie.
True.
If we, I swear to God, if we commit ourselves to just 20 minutes or three exercises done 3 times in a row, 3 sets of 3, if we commit ourselves to those, we're going to drop a lot and fix our diet. We're going to drop a lot more weight than you think.
It's true.
Like you don't have to go to, like if you came over here, I've got a 7-pound weight over here that we could do 3 exercises based around over the course of 20 minutes. And if you eat right that day, you're going to lose a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So
I've got my Bowflex elliptical that that my last determination to lose weight.
and motherfucker, I'll come to you. I'll come to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I will
Let's
come to
do
your
it.
house in that room.
He's so annoying when he's training, though.
I am too. Get ready for it.
I've got
Like,
resistance bands. I've got little tiny weights that we.
I got a fucking shake weight. I'm good.
You got a shake weight. I really want
I'm
to.
sorry. Every time I think of shake weight, I think of what was it, Family Guy or South Park?
South Park.
Every time. I can't. So I
So
can't
good.
take any shake weight seriously.
I really want a couple kettlebells, but but the stuff that this girl's been doing with me at my gym, like I've been able to bring it home. It's sustainable. It's not difficult, but it's not easy either. And I'm happy to share it with both of you.
That's cool. I mean, for me, the reason that it's hard to lose weight for me is that it means an entire lifestyle overhaul. Not just when you're eating and what you're eating, but it means getting to bed in time that you can get up early enough to work out. It means just like watching. Yeah, it means discipline across the board. So
Yes.
I need something sustainable and easy to do. Realistically, getting up and driving to a gym
Not gonna
historically
happen.
hasn't happened for me. So I have equipment in my room. All I got to do is roll my ass out of bed and be willing to.
That's why I do the elliptical. I've got 3 different job-ish things going on right now. I'm not going to the gym. I'm just tired.
What if I came over to your house every night at 7:30, and from 7:30 until 7:50,
I've got
we did some
appointments.
stretches.
Yeah, we could. You want to?
You're
I mean,
gonna
we have a
to
hard
make
time.
It 8. I've got appointments.
Until when?
7:30.
7:30 until 8:30.
No, I have appointments 6:30 to 7:30.
Okay. 7:40.
Cool.
7:50.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do it with us?
I mean, I can come to you guys too. I most of my workout time is going to have to be in the morning, just
Well,
because I mean, you guys see, even doing this podcast, trying to pick an evening to get together, almost never happens. 2 of us, we might be able to pull it off. 3 of us is hard. We have to like make time. So if we can do it, great. I just want to make sure that we do something that if it gets hard to sustain every day, that we're all still going to do it.
Okay.
So
Hey, can we get our hands in the center here?
yeah.
On 3, we're gonna do it. That's delightful. 1, 2, 3.
That's delightful.
That was probably the dumbest thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
No, it was my favorite thing we've ever done.
All right, let's wrap it up. What we found delightful over the course of the last week, and I'm gonna start with my wife Michelle, and this kind of piggybacks.
Why do you always start with me?
No, you didn't hear me. I am going to start. I'm going to start with my wife Michelle.
Okay.
And this
You're-
piggybacks on what we've been talking about. We've been talking about working out and losing weight, and Michelle bitched and moaned and complained and fought with me, but she did it, and she dropped almost 5 pounds in this last week, and it just proved once again, because you're using the diet that Devontae gave you, it proved once again that I married a woman who, when she wants to do something, regardless of the circumstances around her, finds a way to do it.
Aw, thank you.
And I thought that was pretty awesome. And I find you delightful this week.
Thanks.
That's all I got.
You're pretty awesome, Michelle. Good job.
Thanks. You're making me blush.
Well, then let's go to Kelly so we can come back to you and you can recover.
Do you find me delightful too, Kelly?
I do. I mean, if we carry this idea over to the private practice that we've started, Michelle is an unstoppable force plowing forward, and she is almost single-handedly kind of keeping the thing afloat, because I have a number of things going on, and I'm more prone to excuses than she is, because she has a number of things too, but then she just goes ahead and does it. So, yeah, I'll second that. I have a thing that's delightful, but I also wanted to echo
Let's
that.
hear it.
Well, thank you.
So,
By the way, when it comes to you have to compliment yourself just to kind of keep it going.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay, so I had a few things I was going to talk about, but then as I was on my way over here, I saw an article that made me so happy. The name of the article is Jack White Says Tom Waits Stole His Watch. Now, Tom Waits, if you
Are
haven't
these
heard
doctor
him,
people?
Jack White is a rock star of the White Stripes.
Stripes, yeah.
Oh.
He and his they said they were brother and sister, but actually they were married, which is weird enough
creepy.
as it is. And then they were divorced, but stayed in the band. Jack and Meg White had a rock band in the early aughts called the White Stripes. They've since broken up. Jack White is a very talented guitar player, and he's also a bit of an asshole. Tom Waits, on the other hand, is maybe the coolest actual person who's ever lived on the planet. He is a singer. He's around in the 70s, 80s. His voice sounds like if whiskey was strained through sandpaper. If you haven't heard him, he has the best voice. He's the best singer-songwriter. I mean, he just is the actual coolest person ever. And anyway, so Jack White had a concert in San Francisco this week. And apparently Tom Waits visited him back in his dressing room and was talking to him and his band. And during the course of that, he made them, let's see, what does it say? He made all the musicians in the band confirm and pay testament to their love of the religion of music. And then he stole Jack's watch. So Jack White is the kind of guy who probably needs to get his watch stolen every once in a while. And if there's one person you would want to do it, it would be Tom Waits. So the universe was kept in check this week by the coolest man ever in rock stealing the watch of one of the least coolest, inexplicable guys in rock. So hooray for all of that.
It was for your own good. You know why.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
All right, Michelle, compliment yourself and then what you find delightful.
Okay, I am a very goal-oriented person. I'll say that.
That's a thing about you. That's not a compliment.
Sure it is.
Hitler
'cause I
was
usually achieve those
goal-oriented as
goals.
well.
There's never been a goal I've set that I haven't achieved. So
Okay.
I
It's
don't
OCD
know.
at this point.
It is. It's a thing that I have. I don't know. Anyway, it's uncomfortable to say nice things about me.
We should do it way more often.
Yeah.
She has no defense for this.
I have not found it uncomfortable. For me, it just rolled off my tongue.
Yeah, it's
Kelly,
very
it's
easy to come up with
pretty
positive things
natural,
about
yeah.
you, Michelle.
Oh, thanks. Okay, this is like the one thing
This
I've
is
blushed
the
about.
best.
This is awesome,
I
right?
hate you.
We get to say nice things and watch Michelle squirm.
This reminds me of when I was in radio school and we had to read a script in front of the entire class. And then in each sentence, we had to do 2 karate moves while we read it. And it was designed to embarrass you to get over yourself. I think this is going to be the new Michelle Compliment Challenge.
Oh my god, I want to do Toastmasters so bad,
Ooh.
but it's at 6:30 in the fucking morning.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, right. That's.
I'm going to be on the
I've got a
elliptical.
fear of speaking, but I got a bigger fear of 6:30 in the morning. So, anyway, so what I was gonna say, my delightful this week is actually one of the other projects that I kind of picked up, the Stanislaus Family Justice Center. They called themselves the best kept secret in the Valley because there's not a lot of hype around it, and there should be. They offer support to victims of domestic violence, abuse, sexual assault, sex trafficking, and they offer these services free of charge. And they recently figured out, like last year, that they didn't have the mental health support that they thought they did, because the place they were referring people to is designed for counseling, not therapy, and there's a difference. So they started this project, and I kind of, a friend of ours was unable to complete it, so I took it over. She lives far away, so she wasn't able to be down here. And she wanted somebody to be able to, like, actually be present more often. So anyway.
Sacrificing oneself for the good of the cause because it needs more attention, essentially.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So she was just not, she wanted it to be something that, and she wasn't able to be here for it. But, you know, my first official day was Friday, and I already have all these ideas. I think it's just a really cool setup that they have. It's a very supportive, happy environment, and that's my delightful this week. I actually really like that place.
Awesome.
All right. Facebook.com/That's Delightful if you would like to become a donor to the show. Patreon.com/That's Delightful. Hey, sometime in the next 6 weeks, we're going to have some best of stuff to put out. 6 months, rather. What do we say, 30 weeks until we hit 100?
I figure if I just keep myself busy enough to where I don't eat, I'll drop weight like crazy.
I was talking about something different, but
I'm
yeah,
just
that
kidding.
too.
I'm already thinking about losing weight. I'm already thinking about the t-shirt I'm going to wear.
I'm already thinking about how I lost more weight from yesterday to today.
Yeah, I'm still gaining weight. In fact, on the way over here, I picked up a peanut butter Snickers, which has been my treat of choice. I say that we put this on the wall somewhere, and whoever wins the weight challenge gets to binge it in front of everyone.
In front of everybody.
Or throw it in the garbage, I guess was what
I
we
want
should
chili
do.
cheese fries if I win.
Oh, man.
Seriously, it's I didn't realize how much I love those.
Hey, I cannot stress enough that once a week you do get a cheat meal.
But that's a lot of calories. So, you realize when you're on a 1,400 calorie diet how many calories are in everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Once a week, you can take yourself to Texas Roadhouse or someplace like In-N-Out Burger. You can have a cheat meal once a week and make it worth it. Don't completely and totally deprive yourself. Have a cheat meal.
The thing is, when you start getting healthy, it stops sounding as good. I like the way being healthy feels more than I like the way that good food tastes.
Right? Don't you feel like I'm not tired as much? And that's
I know.
the...
Do you remember when I started working out with Devontae that first time, and my very first cheat meal at Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah, I have a picture of it.
It looked like I had jizz bombs going off in my pants. It was just
He
one
did.
after
He
the
was
other.
But you lost a ton of weight with Devontae.
I did.
Jizz bombs.
And those two. Kelly and
Picture.
I think Kelly and I are kind of on a crusade to say the word jizz at least
Yeah,
once.
it's just a fun word. Of the double Z words, it's the best one.
Next week it's your turn.
And he is a doctor, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
If you ever thought to yourself, God, psychologists are so cool and well put together, they come home and say jizz.
Yeah, I used to think I really want to become a doctor, but then I have to give up fun stuff like saying jizz. Turns out you can have your cake and eat it too.
Oh, can I add really quick on That's Delightful? Because I was thinking of the doctor thing and how we both missed the boat when we could have been med school students.
Yeah, actual doctors.
And no, NYU has now, as of this year, gotten rid of tuition for their med students. So a part of me is I would feel really pissed off if I graduated last year and I have the fucking
Right.
student loans. But because of the student loan debt, they wanted to be a more competitive school because they're just not getting enough applicants. And so they got rid of the tuition at med school. So if you ever want to go, NYU, and I think all the other ones are going to have to compete.
I
So-
heard that and I was like, ooh, maybe I'll go to NYU med school. And then I realized, it doesn't mean I get in just because it's free. It's not like they threw open the doors and said, come on, everybody, let's be doctors.
Now serving med student number 27.
I
Number
know.
27.
I thought the same thing. It's how do I, because they're trying to open it up to more underprivileged and underrepresented populations. I think they have enough white people. So I don't think we're going to get in.
Sigh.
All right, again, facebook.com/That's Delightful, patreon.com/That's Delightful if you want to be a donor. To everyone that donates $5 or more, we will make sure to get you a badge, courtesy of our Badge a Minute, in the mail to you ASAP. And on that note, until next week, friends.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to That's Delightful. Online at totallydelightfulstuff.com, facebook.com/That's Delightful, and on Twitter at That's Delightful1.